a lot of people ask me questions about kids. I've written a bunch of kids books. A lot of people ask me questions about kids. And if parents aren't careful, they can push their kids to a point where the kids go in the other direction. Mm-hmm. Now, part of that, I believe, comes from if you're a do what I say, not what I do type person, there's a higher chance that the kids will push against you. Yes. But is there something that you saw in your parents that you looked at and said, oh yeah, I can see that they're trying to help me? Well, I always think the most important thing is if you know your parents care about you, yes, then you know that they're pushing you for the right reason. But did you ever get to a point where you're like, hey man, I know it. Hey dad, it's summer. Yeah. I get spiritual, I get academic, I get physical, but I also want to, take a break. Did that ever enter your mind?
No.
And is that just because the environment that your dad showed you, your mom and dad showed you was like, hey, that we're not doing that?
Yes, sir. And it's all about love too. And they came from a place of love, and we had a good time. They wanted us to have a good time. My parents are actually pretty fun people, but when it came down to developing children, they had a saying: "Is that I'm not your friend, I am your parent. When you are 18 years old, then you can do whatever you want to do. But then by the time you're 18 and you grow up in this environment, well, the cake's already been baked, brother. I mean, you're going to start making decisions based on how you were raised once you become an adult if they do it the right way." Also, just being present. Like, my mom was the president of the PTO when I was in elementary school. When I was in high school, I drove 1 hour one way every single day to attend a private school in Houston, Texas. 1 hour one way. My dad would drop us off on his way to work, and then on his way back home, he would pick us up and take us back home. And every now and again, I would look up I'd be at football practice, and I would look up, and I would see my dad just standing in the distance watching, just to make sure that we aren't slacking off, to make sure that we're getting treated right. And you realize that he's doing this because he loves us. He's doing this because he cares about us. He's doing this because he wants what's best for his children. So then you have to respect the home. And my parents my dad especially, were the kind of people that were like, look, if you get locked up or you do something stupid, you get a DUI, I'm not getting you out of jail. You're going to stay there. Now, are your little buddies, their dads, their lawyers, they're going to come get them out the next day? Oh, no. You're going to stay there for a little while. You're going to remember what you did. And when you think about that, and you're like, I don't really want to go to jail because my dad's going to leave me there. And he's not kidding. The colonel is not playing around. So it's a certain level of fear, but then it manifests itself in a form of respect, especially when it's instilled at a very young age.
And what was the biggest trouble you ever got in with the old man?
Oh, man. I got in a fight. I got in a fight in the 6th grade. And when they found out about the fight, it wasn't my fault. I didn't start the fight. And this was when I was in public school before I went to private school. And then they kind of found out what happened, and I fought back. But my dad was more upset with me because I had kind of a bloody nose and a busted lip, but the guy just had a busted lip, but he didn't have a bloody nose. He was upset with me because he's like, that guy should also have a bloody nose like you do. Like, you stick up for yourself. You're a good kid. And I'm not condoning fighting, but I'm also condoning you need to also stick up for yourself. And that kid needs to look as bad as you look. He looked, I roughed him up a little bit, but it wasn't enough.
And then the application process getting into West Point, that's rigorous.
Yes.
And as you show up there, you already saw your sister go. You knew what you were in for.
Of course I did. And we had visited, there a lot. And keep in mind, my sister is 10 years older than me. And so there's a saying at West Point, the history that we teach is made by those that we taught. So my sister, my sophomore and junior year at West Point, she actually went off, got her master's degree in applied mathematics at Post-Naval Graduate School, and then was an instructor at West Point as a captain and major, while my brother and I were both plebes. We were both freshmen and sophomores at West Point. And so we were all there at the same time. And I had to salute my sister every damn day. It was excruciating because sometimes she would see me like across the quad, and
she's coming your way.
My way just so I could salute her. Like, it was actually really hilarious. But we knew what was coming our way, and a lot of her classmates were actually our instructors as well. So it's nice to have that family, unit up there and to know what you're getting into. But the one thing about us was this: when you start this journey and you start going down this path, you're going to finish it. And my dad said, you can't leave once you start, because you have to understand that you took the place of somebody that would have died to be in your shoes. So if you quit, you're not quitting on yourself. You're quitting on the person that wanted this slot that didn't get it. So guess what? Suck it up. The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, you're going to walk out of here a much better human being and a much better person, but you're not going to quit. And that nonstop, like, don't quit attitude is something that my dad instilled in all three of us.
Was there anything that was more than you expected when you got there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, I one thing I always remember about boot camp, I was going through Navy boot camp, and one thing I was not prepared for is the complete and utter lack of privacy.
Oh, yeah.
So you go into the bathroom, you sit down on the toilet, and you look to your right, and there's a guy sitting there on the toilet next to you, and then look to your left, same thing. Because, by the way, you only got 6 minutes to use the head. So, yeah, I was like, okay, I guess that's just the way it is. Like, we're just one big happy family, real happy, real close family around here. What kind of thing? What shocked you? Were you kind of oh, dang, I didn't know this was happening.
You know, so when you go to West Point, you're doing the application process. Obviously, you're pretty sharp. You know, young man or young woman at the end of the day. I mean, that's what's required to get into any academy. And so you think pretty highly of yourself. You know, I was captain of the football team, captain of the basketball team, and I was a class prefect and leader, and, you know, felt pretty, I'm pretty cool guy. I'm a pretty cool guy, you know? And you get there, you realize everybody's like that. Like, dude, you're not special. Like, you're not special. And everyone gets treated the same way that first plebe summer. And so it is a reprogramming of the way you view yourself and the breaking down of the individual to realize you are a part of a team and you are not special. I don't care what you did. I don't care how good you were. I don't care how badass you think you are. You're all plebes. So deal with it. And then not only that, our summers were the cadre, they were upperclassmen that went through the same kind of program as well. Like, you know, the upperclassmen were also plebes. They did plebe summer. And so there's a certain level of respect that you have to deal with of breaking down the individual, humbling the individual, and then realizing that we're all in this together. We better work together because nobody is special. And that, for me, was the biggest, kick in the teeth. Because, I mean, I thought I was cool.
So you show up there in 2000, you go through plebe summer freshman year. What's it like on campus on September 11th, 2001?
So September 11th, 2001, that was my sophomore year at West Point. So keep in mind, at the academies, the first 2 years are actually free, meaning that you could stay at the academy for the first 2 years, and if you leave before your first class of your junior year, you don't owe anything back to the military. So first 2 years, free of charge. 9/11 happened in the beginning of my sophomore year. And so during that time, you're like, well, we are now going to war. I remember sitting in Eisenhower Barracks at West Point watching the planes fly into the Twin Towers. And we're at West Point, just an hour north of New York City. So all this carnage is happening, and I could literally almost feel and sense the negativity in the world in that moment, because you are very close in proximity to where this is happening as we live and breathe. There was an upperclassman, got in full battle rattle. Full battle. He got camoed up. He had his N14 camoed up, put on his ACUs, you name it, and was knocking on everybody's door saying, "We're going to war, boys. We're going to war, boys. We're going to war, boys." Because at that point, we knew it. Everybody knew that we're going to war.